Hey, and welcome to episode 150 Meeple to Meeple. Today, I am joined by Ty from at Ty Eat Tea on Instagram, a creator who brings together board games, good vibes, and thoughtful conversations about what it really means to be a part of this hobby. We're going to dig into his board gaming journey, how he connects with the wider board gaming community, and why creating a welcoming, inclusive environment at the table matters as much as what's in the box. So join me, guys. Ty, how are you?
Oh, doing really well. Thank you for the intro. I should clip that out and send it to
Yeah,
my mom.
absolutely. Let your mom know what a great person, what a great job you're doing.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
I know I'm really excited to talk to you. We've been kind of friends and chatting has it been a couple of years now that you and I have been?
For a while,
I
but I
feel
think
like we've been following each other for a while.
yeah, yeah. But I think I might be the first person to beg to be on your podcast, right?
There was just a hint of desperation and begging.
Just a tad. Well, that just goes to say like how much I love this podcast and the creator series.
Well,
So
thank you.
you did something really special here.
Thank you. Thank you. I really hope that kind of comes out and that people really embrace what we're trying to do here. I also have to be honest. This content creator series is a bit of, if you watched, I did like a 4-minute little short that kind of introduced the content creator series. This is all like a giant apology for all the sins of my past because I've made enough mistakes, and it's, we want to build that inclusive community, not
Sure,
just at the
sure.
tabletop, but in the wider world, right?
Especially now more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of embody that inclusivity, I feel, in your posts and things that you advocate for on your platform. So,
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I try not to be political all
right,
that much on this platform because
right.
I think this hobby is a form of escapism.
Hmm.
So I think adding, mixing some political statements is not quite right. Not what I'm
Okay.
trying to do. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fair. This has obviously been a topic that we've all been talking about a lot lately. Um, and we're not gonna dive into the politics of everything, but it's definitely a topic that's come up. I can't help but think to myself that at the core of politics, right? And I don't mean left or right, Republican. I don't mean any of that. The core of politics is people, and we're a community of people. So the very fact that we're together sharing a passion for a hobby is political in nature. And I sometimes fear that people think that, or they forget, but there's a person behind all these accounts, and sometimes, we see injustices or our passions just to overtake us, whatever the situation is. And
mhm.
there's a lot to say right now
Yeah,
about
for
our
sure.
environment, and I think everyone's dealing with it in their own ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand what you say. It's definitely a hobby of escapism. I get that, but at the
Hmm.
same time, it's people, so it's political. So yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So enough about that.
Hmm.
We'll dive in that on another day. That's a definitely a longer discussion.
For
So
sure.
I wanted to ask you, I've asked everyone else,
Hmm.
what was the first game that got you into this hobby?
I believe, a long story short, it's probably Scythe.
Scythe.
Yeah. Um, just like everyone, I got into the hobby with Catan and Carcassonne, but right after Carcassonne, I somehow stumbled upon Scythe and the cover of Scythe. Oh man, that cover just struck me. The juxtaposition of the mechs and the farmers,
Yep.
the use of the metaphor of the word scythe as a tool of destruction and agriculture.
Yeah.
That something about that cover that just forced me to dig in further and further. And then
Yeah.
I just had to grab a copy. And once I did that, I struggled with the rule book because I've never played anything like this before.
Right.
Like Carcassonne was like literally the first game that I played. Um, So I was like just reading the rule book. I even downloaded the digital copy on Steam, trying to maybe if I press these buttons, figure out how to play. But that didn't work. And then I stumbled upon this Canadian dude from PEI who was doing tutorials on YouTube, and I watched his video and finally got to learn it and play it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was how I got into this whole thing, the whole big mess.
Wow. So you went from Carcassonne to Scythe.
Yeah,
That that's wow. That's a journey right there in and of
yeah,
itself.
for sure.
Oh man, I will say Scythe was our first foray, and by our I mean my wife and I's
Hmm.
first foray into Stonemeyer's games. My wife typically doesn't gravitate towards war games, right? Axis and Allies, Fortress America, area control games. Those are not really her cup of tea. And Scythe, if you just look at Scythe on a table, if you're not playing the game, I'm sure you know this and recognize it as well. It looks like a war game because it's
Hmm.
got mechs and it's a big board and there's all this stuff going on. But we played it. A friend of ours owned it. He got 5 of us at the table. He was not one of the 5. This was interesting experience. He was not one of the 5 that was playing. He just taught it to the 5 of us and was there to field questions. And I was like, this game is incredible. And then
Hmm.
my wife fell in love with it, the whole experience. So we had to buy a copy and all the expansions and the big insert
Wow,
and the legendary box and everything like, yeah. Um,
you
so
went
that,
all in.
oh, yeah, yeah. Whenever my wife says we have to do a thing, we have to do a thing.
And also, Scythe was the game that got me into painting minis. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
know anything about minis. And I had a close friend who was into like Warhammer. And then I brought the box over and he showed me how to prime, what paint to use. And my wife got into painting minis as well.
Okay.
But she hasn't really touched the brush afterwards.
Sure.
So, yeah, we didn't really get into any of the expansions except the Fenris,
Hmm.
but we upgraded the heck out of that game. And then I even built my own insert
Wow.
with
Nice.
basswood.
Yes.
Yeah. So I went to a local arts and crafts store, bought some basswood, and cut them up, and
Wow.
it was a whole different thing.
Wow.
I didn't know you could buy inserts at the time.
Right. Do you have a favorite faction that you really enjoy playing, or do you just randomize it throughout?
Oh, just randomize.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
But is
played.
is there is there one that you really like above all the others?
Oh, you know what? I'll tell you something. I called Scythe many years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
I still regret getting rid of that game because at the time our shelf space was very limited, and
Sure.
my wife dictated that we have this bookcase just behind me here, and then that was our limit. It's like whenever that gets filled, we can't buy anything more. And
Cut it out,
then
right?
at the time, like we weren't playing Scythe all that much. She
Right.
wasn't really into it. She wasn't really into the conflict side of Scythe.
Right.
So my rule at the time was, if it's not getting played, we have to get rid of it. So I regret that decision like very, very
Mhm.
much. So even though I still love it, it wasn't getting played. And she's like 99% of the time, she's my primary player that I play with.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't want any games collecting dust on my shelves.
Right. No,
But
I
I
get that.
still
I
have
definitely get
nightmares.
that. Well, it just means that you're gonna have to come and visit and spend a weekend, and we can play Scythe for, you know?
Well, only
Um,
if the other menus are painted.
oh, they're painted. Oh, yeah. Oh, they're painted. Um, my wife and I got into painting. We started painting the Star Wars Imperial Assault minis. This was back in 2018, 2019. But then during the pandemic, um, it gave us a lot of time to we had other miniatures, including Scythe. And so we painted those. And the airships. Well,
Hmm.
those were challenging because it's easy. You take the airship and you're like, the Rus Viets, right? So it's red. You paint it all red, but then you got to get all the little
Right.
rivets and you get that with that silver dry brush.
Wow.
Whoo, man, those were challenging to paint, but we had a lot of fun with like the snow, the textured paints, right?
Right.
Like the snow and the water. It really opened our world to the different
Mhm.
types of paints that exist. So
Wow.
yes, when you come and stay for the weekend and we play Scythe, everything will be painted.
Sounds
No
good.
worries. So okay, no favorite faction. How about just
Mhm.
in general, do you have a favorite player color that you like to play in board games?
Actually, the way I choose my colors is, um, I always think about how the game board looks, on the table, and
Okay.
the player colors matter. So I try to, pick colors that are complementary to what, my wife chooses. So it's usually
Okay.
purple or red or pink. So whatever that complements those colors, I'll just pick whatever.
Okay.
So they always look good on my photos, basically.
Right.
But there are a few, aside from the primary color, Euro meeples, I love colors that are pastel shades.
Okay.
So like Holiday Hills just behind me, it's got a really nice colors selection there. Eno Tool has really great color selection, color palettes.
Yes.
There's a Canadian company called Ruse. They just had their second game on Kickstarter called The Mix, and they had a Fox game called The Ruse, and they have some beautiful, beautiful pastel colors there, like shades of orange, emerald, even white, which is a color that I never ever use, but it looks just amazing on the table. So no, I
White's
don't.
an interesting color. White is an
Yeah.
interesting color. Yeah. Um, it's also difficult going back to painting. White is a challenge to
Hmm.
paint with.
I noticed that. Yeah. I was go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the Pollyannia faction in Scythe is white, and then going back to Star Wars Imperial Assault, the stormtroopers, all
Right.
the stormtroopers, right? They're white with a little bit of black, and you can't hide mistakes as easily when painting with
Right.
white.
Yeah. No, I noticed it with while painting Assassin's Creed Brotherhood of Venice. Since all the assassins are white, I was asking another friend, like, how do you paint white? Because I couldn't find like perfect shade of white, like pure white.
Right.
And he was saying how the closest thing to white is like lighter gray.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I learned that there is no such thing as pure white in mini
No.
painting. That's
No, that's
disappointing.
and it's a challenge. It's a
Yeah,
real
and especially
challenge.
when you do a washing afterwards,
Mhm.
it just darkens the color even
Right.
further.
So you basically end up like you paint the whole thing and then you put a dark wash
Hmm.
and then you paint it a little bit more, but not the whole thing, right?
Like
To create
highlights.
this. Yeah. Oh God. I don't have the patience for that.
No, no, me neither.
It's why so basically now when we paint, my wife does all the painting. I prime them so that they're ready for her,
Hmm.
and then I will lacquer them when she's done, but I'm not allowed to touch them anymore because there are so many droopy-eyed stormtroopers in our
Oh my
Imperial
god.
Assault. She's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
sorry."
Yeah, my philosophy with mini painting is that anything is better than gray. So I usually just prime it, I do like a single color and just wash it.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
Kingdom Death Monster, I think I painted all the survivors white with washing or like prime with just white
yeah,
highlights, and all the enemies copper so that they look like statues,
yeah.
and that was it.
Nice. I love it. That's incredible. Yeah. So, how about do
Hmm.
you have 'cause I don't want to assume. How about do you have, like, a favorite board game mechanic that you just love to play?
I would say engine building.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, worker placement all the way, but I love the sensation of engine building. And lately, my wife and I are getting into bag building quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
That was not a mechanism that we were familiar with,
Right.
but quacks, just, oof,
Right?
we
Like,
loved
when
it.
we were late to Quacks as well, and we're
Hmm.
like, "This game is incredible.
Hmm.
Why have we not played it sooner?" You know?
Exactly.
It's it's so good and so satisfying, right? That
Hmm.
tension of pulling out that token and hoping that you didn't, your cherry bombs or whatever
Exactly.
didn't explode. So,
Yeah.
what about Orleans? Have you played Orleans?
Right after kind of like brushed off Orleans early on because
Hmm.
of my hatred towards the art style, the German art style. But after Quacks, I was like, what else is there? So I had to look into Orleans, and my good Instagram friend, One Bookcase, Mike, he invited
Yeah,
me to play Orleans on BGA, and I fell in love with it.
yeah, because
I'm
yeah,
desperately looking for a copy just to have a physical version with my wife.
yes, it's my wife's number one favorite game of all time. She
Mm,
absolutely loves Orleans. It's like
wow.
she always wants to play Orleans. And I think it's that bag building that she loves, but it's also worker placement because you're pulling your workers out and then and what's great about it is you're placing them on the mat in front of you. So
Hmm.
I'm not taking up a worker space on the board that
Right.
you want, right? I can't.
Yeah. Gardenlings.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. It's
Okay.
a 2 to 4 player game. So you basically have but you have tiles, right? These
Mhm.
little tiles that you draw from your bag and you place them in the garden in front of you, right? And it's a this part is simultaneous, right? We're pulling back, but you also have these tiles that have gnomes. If you get similar to Quacks with like the white cherry bomb tokens. If you get 5 gnomes in your garden, they steal all of the gold or the gems that you have created because you're lining up the tiles to match the gem halves on the tile so that you
Mhm.
can so that you could buy better tiles,
Okay.
at the end of each round. It's very similar to Quacks in that regard, but it's worth checking out. It's very satisfying at 2 players.
Mhm.
If you want to play more than 4 players, you can, and they say in the game, buy a second copy because it's a thin box, takes up
Okay.
very little table space, but is a great bag builder.
Okay. I'm gonna have
So
to look into it right after
yeah,
this.
that's worth checking out is Guardlings.
Gardenlings.
So tell me what is it that attracted you to engine building? That was like your first choice when I asked you what your favorite was. So,
Mhm.
what is it about engine building that really draws you?
You know what? I'm blanking. All of a sudden, what games that have engine building elements in it? I'm so blanking.
Engine
Oh my
building's
god.
an interesting mechanic that
Yeah. I mean, like
people
you start really slow with almost
right,
no resources whatsoever, but
right,
there is a point in time about halfway through you feel like God, and towards the end, you do feel like you could do everything, you could accomplish all the goals,
right,
but it's the games that I love never let you do everything.
right,
It ends just before that point in time where I could feel like I have like superpower.
right,
It's like that's
right.
what gets me coming back to these games. But oh my god, I'm so blinking.
Well, here's one. People always talk about terraforming Mars as an
Hmm.
engine builder.
Hmm.
And I don't think of it as an engine builder at all. You don't really to my mind, you don't really build an engine. You play, because most of the cards you play, there's a one time effect. It increases your productivity, or it gives you this resource, or it grants you victory points. There are a couple of cards that allow you to do more, but ultimately, yeah, I just don't see it
Holy
as
cow!
that engine builder. Games that kind of trigger other, yeah. So,
Yeah. Oh my god.
The fact that you're blanking means that my next question is
Hmm.
going to be a blank as well, which would be what
Okay.
is your favorite engine building game?
Yeah. Holy cow! I need to look at my PGG list.
So, guys, Ty did not prepare for this.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, so do you? So let's go back to
Hmm.
Carcassonne, right? Because it was one of your first
Hmm.
games. It employs my absolute favorite mechanic, and that's tile placement. Um, do you still, as your game experience and tastes have evolved, do you still enjoy tile placement games?
Oh yeah, somewhat, but I don't think I have many tile builders per se.
Yeah.
I love land versus sea, but I see here.
Yes.
for
That's a
sure. Yeah, the Newton. Newton is both engine builder and
yeah.
tableau builder,
We played
and
that
that is
today. That's a good
it's all
game.
right.
Mhm.
We love it.
Newton. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Newton was our first foray into the Italian designers,
Yes.
and we have since amassed quite a few of their games, including Lorenzo that we love quite a bit as
Yes.
well.
That's a
I think,
great game.
yeah, we still play Lorenzo because of it has such a short setup time. You could literally start playing that game within like 2 minutes.
You really can.
Yeah, there's just so
Absolutely.
little tiles or chits that you need to set up.
Yep.
Yeah, you could just start playing right away. Whereas Newton or like Darwin's Journey requires at least like 10 minutes of like setup. So that, yeah, Lorenzo is a game that we pull out quite a bit lately
Yeah.
since
And it
we
plays
just
well at 2.
exactly.
Yeah. I also think it's funny, and we've talked about, the designer before, but Simone Luciani is just an incredible designer.
Hmm.
Games are just amazing. I think I have, like, 4 or 5 games by Simone.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. You're right about
Garage is yeah,
Darwin's
yeah.
Journey does take a bit of time. I think Newton is pretty I would think I'm gonna have to disagree. I think Newton's setup time is pretty quick. I think we were like 5 minutes and we were playing because
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
you only have coins, you have the potion tokens, you put those out, you put out the 2 main boards, you take the player board. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of setup on your player board, but,
Hmm.
I
Also
can't
the maps, like
yeah,
populating the maps with the bonus tiles and whatnot.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I can't seem to win that game, though. I'm always one step behind my wife.
Hmm. Hmm.
Always. Always.
Weird. Do you guys always use like similar strategies?
Not usually.
Okay.
I always try something different, but inevitably, I watch her and I'm like, "I better get these books on my shelf,
Right, right.
or I better start traveling on the map," or yeah, otherwise, she's really good at that fast, those income tiles where at the end of each round, she gets victory points, and I'm like,
Right.
"Yeah, yeah."
Yeah,
By
I think
round
Newton is
1, she's
yeah.
ready to go, and I'm 3 rounds behind her.
I think Newton is one of those games where I have a slight edge over my wife. I
Yep.
think I have a better winning rate. So I think like you, I try to do something different since I'm likely to win. And I think my one of my crown achievement in this hobby is using one of the most useless tracks in Newton to win the game. I don't know. I don't know what I don't remember what it's called, but on the side of the board there's a track with all these money,
Oh, yeah.
right?
It's the
Yeah.
so it's the work track.
Work track. Okay.
The icon is it's like a ruler with a scale.
Yes, yes, that's it.
Yeah, so it's like you go out to do work using math, and
Right.
you get money for it, and
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, we never ever, used those tracks before, but I went
yeah,
all in on that track, which allowed me to jump around the map of Italy.
yep, yep,
And then I just blasted her. And that was a proud moment.
yeah. Well, that's a similar thing that my wife did to me today.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she went up that track pretty quickly. Like, before I knew it, she had 3 leaders already unlocked, and I'm
Hmm.
like, "I'm on my first, way behind, way
Hmm.
behind." That's crazy. So, here's my question in 2 parts. 2 parts for compassion in case the first part is too difficult. Do you have an absolute favorite board game of all time? And I realize that's a difficult question. So if not, do you have a favorite board game right now?
Yeah, number one, Voidfall.
Voidfall.
Yeah, not even close.
Okay.
But I haven't played in 2 years, so it's been a while. But it lives in in my brain like rent free, like all the time. Like
Yeah.
in my work office, it's staring at me just across from my computer, so it's always in my life. And I think I played it when my baby was just born,
Mhm.
and he was sleeping all the time, so I had plenty of free time. So in my office, I just set it up on my solo table for
Yeah.
weeks at a time, and I would just play. Uh,
So it has a
I've n-
solo mode.
Yeah, it has solo,
Okay.
co-op, and competitive modes. So
Okay.
there's a booklet that lists all the different scenarios for all three modes. So you could pick and choose easy mode, medium mode, hard mode, and whatnot. And it's brilliant.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I've never played it. It's like so it seems intimidating,
It is.
and then it's like, will my wife like it? But you just said there's a cooperative mode, and we both love cooperative games. So yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't shy away from the intimidating scale. I mean, geez, we've got all the Nemesis, and we've got Etherfields and Frosthaven and Gloomhaven. These are big, weighty
Mhm.
games, and we love heavy Euros. I mean, Vital Lacerda, forget about it, right? But Voidfall. So tell me a little bit about Voidfall. Like tell me about the gameplay.
So you're fighting against a common enemy called Voidborn that almost acts like a parasite trying to take over the entire universe, and you're trying to prevent
Okay.
that. The intimidation factor is also the brilliant part is Enotool's graphic design.
Of
There
course.
are there are dozens and dozens and dozens of icons that you need to be familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're variations of a few different icons. So once you know the core icons, you understand the game basically. And once you crack that, it feels like you're seeing the Matrix code. It's like you're speaking on another language, and that just feels brilliant.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It sounds so good. Like, just you're describing the background and the setting and the theme. It's like, this sounds like something that would hit our table.
yeah, but it does require a lot of commitment. You need
Does
to
it?
even just set up or prepping the game to set up takes forever, which is
Okay.
why I left it on the table for weeks at a time.
Sure.
So once I'm done with one session, it's easier to just refresh and
Yeah.
start go again, instead of just starting completely new.
Right.
So yeah, I still like have like really fondness for that game like 2 years ago. But right now, I would say Quacks. I still have like fondness for Quacks
Yeah.
because because of toddler and my new job, like I rarely have time to play.
Right.
And Quacks is so easy to set up again,
Right.
and it's just so satisfying. Finish in less than an hour, and we could go again the next day.
Yep.
So that gets played quite a bit. And we recently got Holiday Hills
Yep.
on Christmas Eve, no less. And I've become really good friends with designer Chris Porter.
Yep.
And he's an amazing person to just chat with and to get into his brain, and very generous as well. And even though, I mean, Christmas is over, we still play it.
Yeah.
It brings us back to Christmas festive mood. And we still have actually Christmas tree still up. Like I just don't have the time to take it down.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We used to, back when we were in Louisiana, we would keep our Christmas tree up until probably February or March. Because what we would do is when Christmas is over and Christmas ends, a lot of people think Christmas starts like, the 1st of November. Well, Christmas doesn't actually start till Christmas Day, right? There's 12 days of Christmas, right? That's why the Christmas Carol, the 12 days of Christmas.
Mhm.
And that ends on January 6th, which is when Carnival begins, and it culminates on Mardi Gras. So usually on the 6th of January, we take the Christmas ornaments off and we would put Mardi Gras colored lights and Mardi Gras ornaments and keep that up until Fat Tuesday. So, you're in good shape. You're in good shape. And I think you're okay. According to the Roman
Mhm.
Catholic liturgical calendar,
Okay.
tomorrow, February 2nd, is Candlemas, which means you can take your tree down then. So you've got one more day and you're in good shape. Yeah.
We'll see. I got the tomorrow
So,
day off, so we'll see
yeah, put the baby down and get cracking.
for sure.
So Voidfall is your favorite of all time, but you're obviously not hitting it. So you would say that
No.
your favorite game right now is Quacks then.
Yeah,
That's
Quacks
yeah,
Castle of Burgundy, the
Castle
special edition
Burgundy.
gets played quite
Yep,
a bit, even though it requires a little bit more setup than Quacks. A lot of like light games. Like my wife and I used to
sure.
play a lot of heavy games like you with Lucerna, Martin Wallace games. But nowadays anything that requires 10 minutes or more of setup doesn't get played.
Right. Parenthood, it kinda yeah, I can
Yeah.
understand that. Do you play Quacks just the base game, or have you incorporated any of the expansions?
My problem with expansion is that we rarely play games on a regular basis. So once we come back to a game, we have to refresh the rules
Yep,
and play again in
yep,
order to get to the expansion, but we may never get to that expansion.
sure,
So desperately want to try all the expansion and the other content in
yeah,
the game,
yeah,
but we're just so happy with the base game already.
it's so good.
We Yeah, we figure this game will stay with us for a lifetime. So
Good.
eventually, when the boy goes off to college, we'll get the expansions out.
So 20 years from now, you'll finally get the Quacks
Exactly.
expansions. I love
Yeah.
that. So, tell me when you decided to start creating content on Instagram, um, who inspired you? Were there any content creators or designers or anyone that inspired you personally?
Yeah, for sure. I started the Instagram for very, very selfish reasons, which
Yeah.
is to get free games.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had a very small gaming group, and a friend who's from Middle East, and he had a YouTube channel and an Instagram, and he was basically introducing the Western
Okay.
games to the Arabic audiences, and
Okay.
one of these game session, he was saying how his game publisher sent him games to review and cover.
Right.
I was like, you can do that?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So that day, I converted my personal Instagram account to
Mhm.
board game Instagram account because I didn't know this thing was gonna take off.
Right.
So let's post some pictures of our gaming sessions and see what happens. And then, yeah, I was never really into influencing people into buying games that they enjoyed. I just wanted to share. That was the only reason. And I contacted few publishers early on, and they were gracious enough to send me some review units. And I try to cover them as best as possible because I understand not all games are for everyone. So even if I do not like these games, if I tell people what I like, what I didn't like, people will understand their own what am I saying? So yeah, you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah. So even if I do not like something, that might be like a trait that they like. So I try to cover all bases and try to introduce games as much as possible in a good manner with the resources that I have. I don't have any like fancy like camera equipment, no lighting, nothing. So it's a table with my iPhone, and that's it for all my photos. And yeah, it struck core with a lot of people online, and I've been doing that for like four years now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
still going.
yeah. So I'm wondering if how was it like? So when you first was there any content creators that you looked to see, knowing that you didn't have all the equipment and everything, like you said, were there any that you were like, oh, I really like what they're doing, and did you reach? And if so, did you reach out to them? And how were you received in the community?
Sure, yeah. Early on, I think Mike of One Bookcase, we found each other somehow, and we were playing similar games. We had similar tastes. He had a lot of like, great photos, not only photos, but great taste in games too.
Yeah.
And I was constantly discovering new games through him. And I think he became like one of my first friends on IG. And eventually, I gather about 9 other guys who were like-minded, and we
Yeah.
created a group. Right now, it's called the Fridge Repair Support, and they come from all walks of life. Like some cover, obviously, they're all on IG, but
Right.
many of them do have YouTube channels. Many do have TikToks. So we all share different information, a different experience that we tried, and we share the findings basically. So we motivate each other and help each other grow. Yeah, they all have different size of audience, but that doesn't really matter as long as we're always constantly motivating each other. And the name came from we constantly changed the name of the group. Sometimes it was like King Max and the Minions or something like that. And one day, one of us, we always talk about board games, obviously,
Sure.
but one of them was having some trouble with fridge. And everyone was pitching in different ideas to fix that fridge, which is why we named it the Fridge Repair Support. And the name just stuck.
So I can have y'all over and we can play a bunch of games. And if I have a problem with my refrigerator, y'all can help me with that too.
Sure. Yeah. There's no guarantee it will get fixed.
Well, what about the one problem when you changed the name? Did you come up with a solution for fixing that refrigerator or
I don't think it's fixed. No. We just provide support.
support? Yes.
Yeah. We're not fixers.
This community is really great at
Mhm.
supporting one another, I think.
Mhm.
And it sounds like you plugged into a good group.
Mhm.
So that's great to hear. You and I had talked before about some of the things we wanted to cover, and I always ask this question: is there anything in the community that you've seen where you think we need to do better?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, there was a topic that I posted on Facebook media group for content creators and publishers.
Yeah,
And one thing that I want to tell people is as an Instagrammer, like I post all my photos to BGG, and a
right,
lot of YouTubers they create like preview videos of like Essen or Gen Con or for this year, and they pull a lot of photos from BGG that's not their property, or they have a screen capture of them going through the BGG page to show what the game looks like, whatnot. And sometimes I do previews, and I had the privilege of previewing these games and post photos early. And I wish the YouTubers understood more about the copyright laws and the terms of service for BGG, where you cannot use other people's photos without permission. YouTube is not really enforcing it, but you do require permission from the photographers to use those photos. And BGG's terms of service states that any photos uploaded to BGG, the BGG can use it obviously, but and any users have non-exclusive rights to use those photos within BGG, not outside BGG. So in order to use those photos on your YouTube content, you have to obtain permission from the photographer, or at the very least, edit them,
right,
because those pictures aren't your assets. Like
right.
you didn't take those photos yourselves.
Yeah.
So you need to ask for permission first. And I think a lot of YouTubers doesn't really know, but they just think if it's from BGG, it's a public forum, public
Mm,
resource. So they think can just use it. So that was a big topic that had quite a bit of comments.
yeah.
And a lot of YouTubers didn't realize that you had to ask for permission.
I appreciate you bringing that up. I think that's copyright is copyright law. Jesus, in the United States alone is
Mhm.
so complicated.
Mhm.
So let's take that to fruition, right? Because obviously I post the video of this podcast on YouTube, and let's say in the section where you and I were talking about Quacks, I pull a picture of Quacks to do an overlay, and I pull it from BGG, right? So how would you cite that picture in the video? Like, what would that look like? How would that work?
Well, yeah, I would definitely ask for the owner's permission first. If not, I mean, Alex of Board Game Co. Like he never uses any like overlay photos. He'll just hold up the box or put the box on the table to point at it or whatever.
Right.
So there are ways. I mean, Quacks is a popular title. You could definitely create your own assets, take your own pictures, and overlay
Yes.
those instead. I mean, that's the best possible solution. Use your own assets. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
What I have found that's worked for me is if I talk about a game, I usually take a picture of it so that I could put it on the overlay. And like if you talk about a game like you talked about Voidfall and I don't own Voidfall, I would be like, "Hey, could you take a picture of it for the show and send it to me so I could
sure.
put an overlay while we're talking?" I find that serves me well. It's better than us holding them up because I'm on a very portable system. I'm sitting in front of my my shelves. I'm not sitting at my game table. If I were doing more of a vlog kind of thing, I could do that, and I have in some of my shorts. So, yeah, I think there's room for everything, but I think, again, you bring up the great point. Any assets that you use, if you pull from a website, getting that permission so you don't violate copyright is
Exactly.
fundamental. Yeah,
Exactly. And also
it's
publisher will be happy to provide you with really
yep.
great publicity photos
Yes.
of their games. So
Yep,
that's another route that anyone can go through.
exactly.
And many of them do have these media assets on their websites that you could go and download, and they're super high quality, and they show the game in the best possible light. And yeah, and if not, just email them, ask for some photos. They'll be happy to provide those photos for extra coverage and exposure for
Yeah.
free.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. Thanks for
Hmm.
bringing it up. I think it's an important thing to bring up because we all work so hard on our digital content and to not get recognized when someone uses it. I know there's been a lot of talk about people copying other folks' content, the rise of AI as well.
Hmm.
I know that those conversations seem to be kind of together. And I think copyright law is something people need to know about, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
And yeah, all these people like using my content in their content, like I'm sure they have no malicious intent.
yeah.
They never express that my photos are their content. They're just showcasing the game, and my photos happen to be on BGG that they pull from. So I completely understand it, but at the very least, credit. At the very least,
Give Ty
because
credit, guys. He
well,
needs
not
that.
not just me, not just me, anyone. And they see the biggest board game channels like Dice Tower using these photos from BGG without any credit, and other smaller YouTubers think like that's okay because the biggest ones are used doing it,
Right. Right.
and that's just
Absolutely.
not fair.
So aside from copyright and credits and captions, right? If someone were to come to you and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm thinking about, becoming a content creator and, starting to post some of the games that I'm reviewing for people." What advice would you give to them?
Create content that makes you happy.
Hmm.
It's like things that you play. Don't ever chase the new hotness because you're gonna need another mortgage. I mean, like even though I have a lot of access to a lot of new games,
Yeah.
I think I only request games that sparks my interest.
Hmm.
I mean, a few years ago, like I used to request everything
Yeah.
because I could get them.
Yeah.
But now I'm very selective of things that of the games that I think my wife and I will enjoy.
Yeah.
And I fall into that trap of only covering games that I review positively. But I mean, you don't want to spend hours on a game that's dreadful, and you don't want to spend hours writing that review and taking photographs.
Hmm.
I don't want to waste my time. I don't have that's taking time away from my toddler.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. Yep, that's true.
yeah.
That's good advice is do it. I think that's been coming up a lot is
Hmm.
everyone's advice is do what you enjoy.
Hmm.
Maintain your happiness, maintain your joy. As long as you enjoy the content you're creating, then go
Hmm.
for it. I think
Exactly.
that's the best advice that I keep hearing this time and time
Hmm.
again. So I wanted to ask you though about reviews, real quick.
Hmm.
I don't do reviews. I'm always upfront with publishers, designers that I don't do reviews. What I do like to do is if you design a game, I want to have you come on the show and tell me about your journey. I'm more interested in that. That to me is a compelling story. And I think it's the way that I contribute my little bit to building this community. But sometimes I get games sent to me. It's less often than one would think, believe it or
Hmm.
not.
Hmm.
But I wrestle with this. I get a game and I don't like it. How do you handle that, right? Like,
Hmm.
how do you balance? Because you want to give a balanced review.
Sure.
You want to be honest. This is another topic that's been coming up in the content creator community is giving an honest review.
Hmm.
Not that you want to be negative and just eviscerate the designer and their game, but how do you balance a game that you review and you didn't like it, or you have things to say that are less positive? How do you
Right.
balance those 2?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think
Yeah.
early on in my content creation career, I think I try to be as truthful as possible. And I think that got me on a lot of blacklists because
Oof.
I think I just crapped on the games. In hindsight, I don't think I should have done that.
Okay.
There are ways. Obviously, you could point out the positives and the negative things that I that like and that dislike. There's another way where you could contact the publisher and tell them, "I do not enjoy this game. This game does not fit my taste," and they'll likely tell you to. I know some publishers they will tell you to donate the game to a local gaming group or library so that it's not sitting on my shelf. So that does happen. So it's best to be truthful with the publisher.
Yes.
Let them know I do not enjoy it. What do you want me to do with this review copy? They might say, yeah, keep it or give it to someone who might like it.
Yeah.
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 So you don't always have to post games that you receive. Yeah. And it
It's a
happens.
challenge. It's a
Yeah, for sure.
challenge. I think what I would say, if anyone's listening and they're either new to content creation or they're thinking about starting to transition from just being a casual gamer to content creator, is be aware of that. You want to be honest,
Hmm.
but you don't want to be negative. And I believe that you could be constructive through that honesty. And I think reaching out, I like your advice is reaching out to the designer, the publisher, and say, hey, before I publish anything, before I post anything, this is what I thought. This is what I really like. So rather than reviews, what I do is play test, right? So
Hmm.
what I do see a lot of are prototypes. I
Right.
see tons of prototypes that come through. So I know that the game, when it arrives at my door, it's going to look so different when it leaves my door. So I don't have to worry about that. And then what I can do is, so you design a game, you mail it to me, I play test it. My wife and I, eviscerate it
Hmm.
to, in that constructive way. And then
Right.
we send you our feedback, work on this. This is good. This is bad. This, whatever, and then have you on the show and talk about your journey,
Right.
which is so exciting for me. Which I really, I never thought about it until this last year, 2025, was probably the most prolific in terms of prototypes that came to my house.
Hmm.
Right, that they were willing to ship me prototypes. In fact, I had some designer friends stay for the weekend. They did. They
Oh
came
wow.
over and stayed the weekend, and they were working on a new game. We got to play a game. We got to play the final product of their game that we play tested in the past. So that was really exciting. I
Wow.
love that. Yeah. So people think I'm just making this up. No, see, I don't have any children. So I have like this house you can stay. You all can't stay at one time, but you could come and stay for the weekend, right? I will cook for
Right.
you and you could play games with me and I'll
That
be
sounds
happy,
amazing. That's amazing.
but playtesting and the podcast just they go hand in hand in
Wow.
ways that I wasn't prepared for. And it has allowed me to slightly upgrade my system. I've got a mobile studio now that I didn't have before. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I have a new 4K camera. So I'm really excited about that because I'm a little bit more crystal clear.
Nice.
Maybe I shouldn't be with this face, you know, but yeah, I love the prototypes. I think the beauty of playtesting, um, there's a lot of there's less pressure when reviewing, right? Because you don't want to be too negative. Well, in this case, you do. You want to be brutally honest so
Right.
that you can help the designer make their game better, right?
Right.
Um,
No,
and
I definitely
that's
see.
been great.
Yeah, I definitely see the attraction of
Oh yeah,
playtesting, but I
yeah,
think I'm the opposite of you. I
yeah.
think I prefer the final version,
Okay.
playing the game as intended by the designer. But I mean, I've played plenty of prototypes that are close to final,
Hmm.
and depending on our feedback, the studios actually do make those changes because they can possibly playtest every aspect of the game.
Yeah.
So it is really gratifying to see those changes. that your
Yeah.
feedback meant something
Yes.
to the designers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got to ask you about your Instagram name, right? Ty
Hmm.
Eat Tea. Now I
Hmm.
understand it's TAE and you
Hmm.
put it in its three different forms,
Right.
but I wanted to ask you about tea.
Hmm.
Here's the question. Are you an avid tea drinker?
No.
No. That ruins the whole episode for me. Wrong answer.
I
Let's try that
Yeah.
again. No.
I do drink tea quite a bit, but I only drink like green tea.
Okay.
So something that doesn't have a lot of fruity flavors.
Yeah.
Green tea is pretty much the only thing I drink, or something with honey and wild ginseng.
Sure. Yeah. What about at your tabletop? You and your wife sit down to play a game. Do you have a pot of tea or a cup of tea while
Beer,
gaming? Beer.
just beer.
Beer. Beer. There it is. Beer. Okay.
But I mean, like my name was an anagram. Like
It's
it was an
true.
anagram for eat,
Yeah.
tea, and
Yeah.
ate.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
So anything that's related to like eating.
Well, okay. So let's talk about the eating then, since you pretty much ruined my theory on tea. No, I'm just what about snacks at your table? Do you allow them? And do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I mean we do fruits quite a bit. Some
Yeah,
chips, but like any good Asians, we use chopsticks to eat chips
sure, sure.
because we don't want to get these precious games any dirty than they need to be.
No, you're totally right about that.
Hmm.
I agree with that. Yeah, well, especially now after all the surgeries I had over the holidays, because I'm more on a high protein and low fat diet. So a lot of hummus
Hmm.
with
Very good. Yeah.
vegetables, really enjoying that. And also it's not very messy, because you can have your little bowl of hummus,
Right.
and your peppers and your cucumbers and carrots and stuff. So they're all good for you then. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Healthy. Eating healthier, guys, so that I can
For
give you
sure.
more podcast episodes to enjoy.
Well, PJ, like we want you to live forever. That's all I
Well,
want.
okay. Well, thank you. I'll tell you something that I've not told anyone. I've never said it online before. It's not really a secret. So when my wife and I first met and started dating, and when I asked her to marry me and she said yes, she's like, but I want a 75th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
So let's do the math for a moment. Let's do the math. PJ is now 50 years old.
Hmm.
Uh, I have to live to 109 so that
It's
my
doable.
wife can have a
Doable.
75th. Well, it's doable, but clearly I was doing something wrong because it led me into the hospital over the holidays and I had to have all these surgeries because I wasn't taking care of myself. I thought I was, but
Hmm.
clearly I needed to work harder. And so,
Well, those the medical
yeah,
intervention made you clearly better.
yeah, now I just got to follow through. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
You'll
watch
get
that.
there.
So
I
we
believe in
improved
you.
the snacks. We improved the snacks. Thank
Hmm.
you. I appreciate that because I need it. So yeah, well, Ty, thank you for your time. Thanks for
Hmm.
joining. Thanks for reaching out to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, and
This
and
was
this is
fun.
for all of you. If you want to come on the show, man, send me a DM on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. Tell me you want to come on the show. We'll just chat for an hour, and we'll keep building this community and nurturing openness. I think I really loved your story about the friend of yours who was teaching Western games to an Arabic world. I mean, if that's not nurturing inclusivity and diversity, I don't know what else is.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that friend is doing more for the community than I am. Oh,
Yeah.
I need to work harder, guys.
Yeah. Man, he had all these really great gateway games
Yeah,
on his shelves are that are all Arabic. I could recognize the cover, but I couldn't obviously
yeah,
read it.
right.
But yeah, he was involved. Like I think he was helping publishers to bring those games over, as well as teaching those games on YouTube. So like he was doing
That
some amazing work.
that is so great. That is so great. I love that. That's just an incredible mission. Uniting
Hmm.
players around the world. I'm all about it.
In all languages.
Yeah. So, Ty, where can, if anyone wants to reach out to you after listening to this episode or watching it on YouTube, where can they find you on the socials?
Yeah, Instagram is the only social that I'm on. I'm
Okay.
just too lazy to do anything else.
Okay.
No
And
time. I'm just too
you
tired.
are at
Yeah,
Ty,
eh,
TAE underscore
underscore
eat
eat
underscore
underscore tea.
T. I love
Mhm.
that. That's fantastic. Well, thanks for joining me. I really
Thanks for having
appreciate
me.
this. This is great.
It only took months of convincing.
Oh, months, he says. Listen to this. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please give me comments. I thrive on that so I can continue giving you content. And if you've got an idea for a topic or you want to join me on the show and just talk about whatever game you want to talk about, come on, let's do it. And as always, remember, be kind to each other and let's play more games.